Welcome. We are. This is chat number 3 of the Wellness Month, and I'm joined today by Kelly. Welcome, Kelly. How you doing?
Hello, hi everyone.
So, Kelly, you are better known as the Beagle Lady, aren't you?
Yes.
Because you specialise in helping people with training their beagles. Is that right?
Yeah. All online, all over the world. Love it.
Where's the furthest customer that you've got?
Wow, do you know what? I'm really rubbish with geography. I didn't do very well at school geography. But I've had a client in Colombia. I've had them in South Africa. I've had them in India. I've had them US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. So yeah, all over the world, really.
I'd never expect a beagle to be in India.
I know, they're really popular.
Are they?
Yeah, they're really popular. They're like, in America, they're in the top 10 of favorite breeds. They don't feature in the UK.
No.
But in India, they're in their top 10 as well, and they're right up there.
Wow, I would have kind of expected beagles to be like endangered, because you really don't see them. You really don't see them in the UK that much, do you?
No, which is crazy because that's where they originate from.
Yeah.
But yeah, America, they use them still for bunny hunting. So there's lots of working beagles out there, but they're working, but they also are living in their homes as well. So it's not like they're in, kennels or sheds or anything. So they're pets as well as hunters.
Yeah, I remember when we first met, and I said to Emma, like, you're specialising in beagles. I was like, there's just not that many around. How's that going to work out?
There's about 20 on the island where I live in Guernsey. Right. And we meet up on a beach on a Sunday. I'm going this week when I get back. And we can have anything between 5 and 10 beagles on the beach, and it's chaos.
Is it?
we're waiting for the council to say you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, still joys.
Yeah.
So you've not always been a beagle trainer, have you? Perhaps you can just let us know a bit about your background and how you got into business, and then we'll talk about the sort of wellness side of what you've been through.
Yeah. So like yourself, I was a police officer. I joined in 2001. The first sort of 6-7 years, loved it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was just awesome, wasn't it, back in the day? And then, of course, the government got involved and it all went to rat shit. Oh, my, I swear. I do swear a lot, by the way. I think what it was lack of staffing, and I became a detective sergeant. So I had a lot of responsibility with no staff. And also those previous years that I had loved still had affected me, because I was seeing and dealing with the awfulness of life. And for me, it was death. I was seeing a lot of death, whether that was just I turned up because Mrs. Miggins had passed away, or it was because someone had jumped in front of the train. It was, what it's like. Yeah. So 2016, I was starting to lose my passion for policing anyway, but my mental health was poor. I was having quite a bit of time off, which I thought was work-related stress. And then I had an amazing manager. It's always great when you have a great manager, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she was like, this isn't right, Kelly. We've got to get something sorted. So she made me go to my GP, which I did. And then she referred me to occupational health. And I was really lucky, actually. Back in the day, they had occupational therapists. They don't really have them anymore. They
can't afford them.
No, they were all in-house when I was around. And she said, you've got PTSD. And I was like, oh my God, what is that? And you always think of PTSD as soldiers, but actually emergency services really struggle with PTSD because it's a cumulative effect. It's one after the other, because our brains are not geared around regular trauma. And that was what they said, when I started to get my help and my therapy, and I had some EMDR, which is this rapid eye movement. It really hit home that everything, it was like I was a tree. She said to me, you're a tree, and every time you went to a job, it was chopping you down. And then eventually that tree fell over and your brain went, enough. And that's it. And I couldn't do policing from that moment on. And they had to put me in the back office. And I was like, I can't do this till I'm 67. I'll go mad.
It's not in our nature, is it? For the emergency services, you want to be out there. And I remember when I finally said, I can't go out on the streets anymore.
Yeah.
Put me in a garage doing shredding shredding documents, and I'm just like, what is this? I can't do this.
They put me in victim service team, and I was like, what? I've had about this. I'm up to here with people, and you've put me in victim service team. I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
But I've always been proactive with my mental health because I have struggled since I was a kid with anxiety and depression and things like that. And it got put down to hormones and teenage stuff and all that stuff, you know. So I've always been proactive, and I got myself a dog. I got Daisy Beagle. I do no research, none at all.
Was Daisy your first dog then?
Yeah, it was my first dog. And I went for a beagle. So she entered my life, and the first 2 days were amazing. So because I knew the person, and I texted her and said, oh, yeah, Daisy's amazing. Yeah, we'd love to keep her, you know, because it was like a trial run. I should have known then. She texted back and she went, she hasn't destroyed anything then? I went, no.
And they changed all their numbers.
Yeah.
the country because they've managed to rehome Daisy.
Exactly. And then so Monday morning, I went to take my kids to school, come back, and it looked like I've been burgled. She had, in the space of 30 minutes, she had destroyed my lounge and chewed and eaten my husband's VR headset. He'd only had 24 hours. So yeah, that was interesting. So my journey then was that I couldn't get help for Daisy, which was ironic really, because Daisy actually had anxiety and so did I, but I couldn't get anyone to understand her. And being a police officer, I'm very pragmatic, you know, I will sort this out, I will find a way. And so I went and took some dog qualifications online first of all, and then I went and did some practical stuff. And I remember my tutor saying to me, so Kel, what are you going to do? You're going to, you know, join a dog company? You're going to build your own company? I went, no, I just need to train my dog. And he was just like, what? Like, yeah, just need to train my dog. So about 2018, Daisy was obviously really good at this point. She was settled. We were loving life with her, and I got another beagle, Billy. God, he was crazy as well. But there was something in me that I wanted to leave the police, and I knew I wanted to work with dogs because of what I'd learned and how I was fascinated by all of it. So I started a daycare business and a home boarding business. My husband was well chuffed when that happened. 8 to 10 dogs in our house every day. But within 6 months, it was bringing in enough money for me to leave the police. So that's what I did. September 2018, I initially took a career break, but that was purely for my husband's benefit. I would have left then and there, you know.
What was that like, making that decision? Was it easy?
Yeah, it was so easy. Oh my God, it was. If I'm honest, I've been trying to get out of the police since about 2014 because I tried all different things. I tried all different businesses. I knew I wanted to be self-employed, and I knew I wanted to be my own boss, and I'd done lots of different things. I think I've had 10 business ideas until I finally stuck with this one. So when I made that decision, it was like a weight had been lifted off of me. I felt really liberated. And although it was supposed to be a career for life, policing isn't a career for life anymore, you know. And I see why in America, they have shelf lives, don't they? 10, 15 years, because they've worked out that we can't do 30, 40 years without our brains exploding, you know.
That's it. It wasn't until I left and I hadn't done frontline policing, I suppose, for a good year or maybe a bit longer, but it wasn't until I left that I realised how claustrophobic I felt within the organisation. Yeah,
absolutely. And then there was no support, you know. I actually, in the end, found a charity called Police UK. Oh God, I can't remember what it's called now. Police Care UK or something. So they're not affiliated with any police force. They're an independent charity, and they were the ones who finally got me my help I needed. They paid for 12 sessions of EMDR therapy, and you know that really changed my life. But no one at Ocky Health or no one in the police said there is this charity, go use it. I found it myself, you know.
Yeah, that's really interesting actually, because very similar to my journey, I did all the occupational health and well-being and everything, and then I was part of a police firearms officers charity who again stepped in to provide the help that was needed and put their hands in their pockets and paid for it. So it's interesting, and on the back of that, and me and Jules are doing a podcast at the end of the month, that comes into the care of pet professionals that me and Jules are setting up. So it runs in parallel, doesn't it? It's to help pet.
I had a little giggle yesterday because I'm in the UK at the moment and they're advertising for Met officers. And I'm driving, and I'm listening to this advert, and he goes, "And we look after your well-being." And I went, "Yeah, right."
So how have you found starting your business, but also having you still have the PTSD? Is that still prevalent in your life? Or?
Not so much. I think because I'm out of that scenario now, and I'm not listening to stuff, I'm not listening to victims, I'm not reading statements, that kind of thing. And then having the therapy as well, what it did was I had about 3 or 4 incidences that kept playing around in my head all the time. And if I was really stressed and anxious, I would have night terrors and things like that. And what it did was it took it from the front and it put it to the back. And so when I think about it now, 2 of them I can't really remember very well at all. One I still can, but I don't have the same emotional response to it. Yeah. So that's really helped me. But having that, as well as trying to build a business, was really tough, because my will was stronger. I needed to leave the place and I wanted to be self-employed, but there were periods of time where my business made me anxious because of everything, and I wouldn't be able to work for a few days. I'd have to sort out what was going on up here first. But it also gave me the flexibility. So I'm probably a bit like you. I was working in the place. I dropped a day a week. Yeah. I was building my business, and then it got to a point where I could get rid of that and then tip over into what I wanted to do. And that's what I did. I wasn't dog training at this point. I was still just doing the daycare and the home boarding, but it was enough. And actually, it really helped me understand dogs more, just having that. But yeah, it was tough, but I wouldn't not do it again. It was, it's been very rewarding.
What sorts of, if you're happy to talk about, but what kind of therapies did you go through to help you with the PTSD?
Well, so I did the talking therapy that everyone probably does. And then I can't remember what IMDR stands for, eye movement something.
Yeah, eye movement. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, I can never remember it.
Desensitization?
Yeah, something like that, isn't it? And what it does is you have to focus on something, and the person moves a finger and you have to follow it as you're remembering what happened and the feelings. And the idea is it's like REM sleep, where when you're in REM sleep, that's when your brain processes stuff, works through it, and then chucks it to the back of your head and your memories. And this is basically what it does. It puts your very because any time I thought about these things, it was like I was back when it started, when I was there. So now it's a memory rather than something that happened to me yesterday, and then obviously my dog. I was becoming slightly agoraphobic, and my doctor, you know what they say, you need exercise. I'm like, I fucking hate exercise, but whatever. So I thought, right, I'll get a dog. And it wasn't that I'll just get a dog. I'd always wanted a dog. I'd grown up around dogs, with my family having dogs. But I'd never had one as an adult. So at the grand old age of 43, I got myself a dog. And actually she's been my life, she's been a lifesaver. She got me out of the house. There were days where I couldn't talk to anybody, so she would just sit on a chair next to me, and she was just my comfort more than anything else, and she was my inspiration. So it's weird how a dog can change your life so much. I suppose it's not weird, because dogs change people's lives all over the world, don't they, really? Search and rescue.
And you're right, I had a period of sickness where I was at home on my own, kids were at school, Emma was at work, and I would literally just take the dogs out for hours and just walk, and it really does, listen to podcasts and stuff like that, and it really does start to I suppose, take you away from yourself. So take yourself away from your inner voice, isn't it?
Yeah. And nature, I read somewhere, because we'll talk about it in a second, about some other stuff going on in my life, and I just find I get overwhelmed by sensory stuff, so TVs, music, people, that kind of thing. And I read that our brains are actually naturally attuned to the sounds of nature. So, and that helps us to relax. So the wind in the trees, the birds, all of those things. Being outside in nature is a natural therapy, basically.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you've also hit the nail on the head there when you've gone to a GP and they just said, well, just go out and get some exercise,
Yeah.
And we talk to so many people, don't we, who maybe professionals are all very well meaning, but sometimes if they don't know what it's like if they've not been there. And I often say this about management within like the police service, because if you're a higher manager in the police service, you've not done a lot of time on the front line. You've had to put your effort into getting promoted. So you go through the ranks quite quickly. Yeah. You don't have that exposure to the trauma that the frontline officers and paramedics have. They don't understand, what you're going through. And it's the same, like anyone you speak to, unless they've kind of been through it, it's very hard for them to meaningfully help. I had someone say to me once, I wish I could just shake you and make you feel better. And I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Just shake me up a bit and hit the reset button and I'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what I think though, Bill, and you might agree with this, you have to learn to live with it. It's almost like you can minimize it. It's like when I just talked with my beagle owners, I can help you minimize what's going on psychologically, but I can't get rid of it. And so you're going to learn to manage it. And it's the same with us. I spent a long time trying to get rid of it. Why do I keep having anxiety? This is frustrating me. Why? But actually accepting that is part of me now, but I can minimize it and I can learn how to not make it blow up out of control, because sometimes it would. That's the key, really. And anxiety runs in my family anyway, so it's part and parcel of being a human being. But yeah, it's when you then add in a job like policing. I've been a police officer, never.
So let's touch a little bit on the Beagle Lady, because you've gone from doggy daycare and then you're now an international international business where, like you said earlier, you're training beagles all over the world.
Yeah. I still pinch myself. I still can't believe it, So I when I was doing the daycare and the home boarding, I thought to myself, I'll do a bit of dog training. I've got the qualifications. So I was starting to help my clients that I already had, and then they would refer me on to other people. But there was always something niggling, and it kept coming up. Just work with beagles, because I struggled. And actually now when I talk to my clients, the thing that comes up time and time again is, my trainer was awesome, but just didn't understand beagles. And we're trying to train my beagle like it was a Labrador, and you just can't do that.
Right.
So I contacted my first coaching, because I've had many coachings. My first coaching, which was Alex from Shift to Success.
Yep.
And that first phone call where he does that kind of like call of what do you think you want to do, and actually saying it out loud, because I hadn't actually said it out loud to anyone. It was all in my head the whole time, and I was, I'd like to just train beagles. And he went, oh my God, that's an amazing idea. And I was like, yes. And just having someone believe in you, and also helping you through the process. Coaching is so important when you're in business. And I reckon I'll be in business 20 years and still be in coaching, because you can continuously learn. And also, when you do have those setbacks, I don't like to call them failures, I like to call them setbacks.
Yep.
Then you have someone saying to you, it's okay, learn from it. Learn from it. Where did this go wrong? I did a webinar recently. I've done 2 webinars in the last couple of weeks. I did one where it was amazing. I sold loads of sales. It was brilliant. It was all for puppies. And then I did an adult beagle one and I sold hardly anything. So instead of going, well, webinars are shit, I'm never doing this again, I just sat down and I really thought about, why did this one work? And I figured it out. I've worked it out. And why did this one not work? So rather than going, right, that's it, I'm done, I'm not doing that anymore, I've worked, you work through it. So, and it's only coaching that puts you in that frame of mind. So I was doing face-to-face, but I wasn't seeing many beagles, maybe 2 or 4 a month. And I was traveling quite a bit. The longest I traveled was about 2 hours there and 2 hours back to see a beagle. And then COVID hit. And overnight, my daycare and my home boarding just went. People weren't going on holiday, and people were at home. So my income just went. And I am one of these people that did not have a backup plan or money in the bank. I was living month to month, which I've always done. I'm terrible for it. I don't now, which is good. So my husband stupidly suggested I went back to the police. I was like, you can jog on, mate. I'm not doing that. And then he was going, why don't you go and work for Sainsbury's as a delivery driver? I was like, no disrespect to delivery drivers, but that's not me, So I came up with an idea, the people were getting puppies and people still needed help. And actually, whenever I was doing face-to-face, it wasn't about the dog, it was about the person. And I would sit there for an hour or more with this beautiful beagle sat here on my lap, drinking a cup of coffee, and I'm just talking to them. And it was teaching them about how to manage their beagle. So I did a free webinar. Oh my God, did I nearly shit my pants doing that. I was bright red, I was dripping with sweat, all the things that come naturally to me now didn't back then. And so that went down a storm because I had quite a good following on Facebook. At that point, I had about 6,000 members. So I got about 90 people, which was quite good on that webinar. Yeah. So then I thought, ooh, can I make some money out of this? And I did. And the rest is history. I literally, within 3 months of COVID, I was exceeding my salary from my daycare and my home boarding, and I have ever since. Yeah. Because I do everything like we're now. It's all on Zoom. I have training videos, I have online packages, I have, and someone said to me once, because I live in Guernsey, there's not many beagles, and she lived down the road, and she went, oh, Kelly, will you come over and see my beagle? I was like, no. She's like, what? I said, no, I do everything on Zoom. She's like, yeah, but I live around the corner. I'm like, no. Everything on Zoom.
And I should think that, there might be some dog trainers in my group who do dog grooming and dog training. And I should think there's a lot of dog trainers that didn't pivot during COVID and probably really struggled. Whereas I know there's a few of you, isn't there, that yourself with beagles, Vicky with Labradors, and Katie with Dachshunds, and you've got clients globally, and it's just amazing, isn't it? So yes, COVID was a horrific situation to live through, but actually for some people it brought out a lot of positives as well.
The only thing that I did find, and I still find, so if there is any dog trainers out there that think they'd like to go online as well as do, because there's hybrid, you can have face-to-face and online, or you can just be online or just face-to-face. You will come up against negativity, and it isn't the public, it's the dog trainers. Oh my God, did I get ripped apart when I first started going online? You're dangerous, you can't train a dog online, I was like, oh my God, whoa. But guess what? Those same people that ripped the crap out of me now are doing online training.
Yeah, that's it. And again, it's having that coaching behind you, just to say, look, stay firm, keep going, be yourself. And the one I actually use you as an example, and I talk to clients about selling the result, and like selling the result of what you're going to get. And I always use that the one you say about, how much would you pay not to have your dog rip your sofa apart, or how much would you pay to have a relationship at the end of your puppy's your puppy's grown up, sort of thing. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because beagle puppies are not easy. I had one for a very short period of time. Unfortunately, she was ill and passed away. And actually, now that I've experienced puppyhood and adolescence, which I never was going to do, I'm always I like the oldies. My God, it's really made me empathize with my clients. But yeah, it hasn't been plain sailing. You know, there were days where I was like, right, I'm giving this up. I can't do this. I'm not getting any clients, or I'm not getting any, you know, I'm not getting what I thought I should be getting from a webinar, those things. But I'd already got to that tipping point. I don't know if you've read, I can't remember where I saw it, where when you're building a business, you're here. And at any point between here and here, you can give up easily. You can say that you haven't got the time, the money, the clients, whatever. And then you get to this point where there's no going back. Yeah. And you'll make it work no matter what. And I've been there for quite a while, which is why when things like last week, my webinar didn't do as well, I don't think, right, that's it. I just think, right, how am I going to make this better next time?
Yeah, reflect on it and move on, don't you?
Yeah, big time.
But then recently you've had a new sort of diagnosis in your life, haven't you?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. And I think you've taken this on as a very positive step.
Yes. Yeah, big time.
What perhaps you can tell us about the diagnosis and what made you go out and find
so if there's any ladies or gents out there who have their hair and nails done, our hairdressers and our nail people are our unofficial therapists. You know, you sit and you chat and da. And one day I was frazzled. I was all over the place. I walked into the nail shop where this, you know, my Tracy, and she said, "Hello, Kel, how are you?" And I just burst into tears.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I told her what was going on in my life, and you know, she was beautiful. She was so lovely. She just sat there listening to me, filing my nails. And she went, "Kelly, I think you've got ADHD." And I was like, "What? ADHD? I'm not hyper. I'm probably the opposite. I'm a sloth, you know." She went, "No, it's really misdiagnosed in women, but also in men as well, who have something called inattentive ADHD, which is where we procrastinate and we can't motivate ourselves. We struggle with things like making phone calls, and there's lots of different elements to inattentive ADHD." So I then went away and looked it up, and they have online quizzes. And I know online quizzes are not a diagnosis, but it did say, do this test and then take it to your GP. So I did it, and it came out as, whoa, you definitely have ADHD. But I didn't go to my GP. I circumnavigated that because I kind of know a little bit about ADHD because my brother has it, but I never thought anything of it, you know? And then I read it's genetic, and I was like, oh, okay. So I rang my brother and I said, you know, this is what's happening. This is what, and he went, yeah, Mum's got it. I went, what? She said, yeah, it's undiagnosed, but he said, I can absolutely tell she's definitely got ADHD, because my brother's got inattentive as well. He's not got the hyper side to it. So I found myself a therapist in Guernsey that specializes in ADHD, who my therapist has ADHD. Just really random. And she did some bits and bobs with me that first week. Not the official testing. I had that done 2-3 sessions down the line. But even by the end of it, she was like, yeah, absolutely, this is what you've got. And because she spoke about my childhood, and she spoke about how did you cope with this, and this. And, you know, it was ticking all the boxes. I was introverted. I didn't do well in crowds. My school said I could do better, but I wasn't, you know, putting in the work. My grades were poor, even though I'm not stupid. You know, I felt I was described as the odd child. I am odd. I can be odd. And I struggled with friendship. So I bounced from friendship to friendship and things like that. And I always grew up thinking I was this kid that had been dropped off on a planet and the aliens had forgotten to pick me up. You know, it was that kind of thing. And then I found I found online forums, and I found online Facebook, and I started to, you know, absorb myself in all of this. And I was like, still makes me a little bit emotional now. I felt like, oh my God, I am not weird. I am, you know, there is a reason why I think this way, I behave this way. And so, like, I was with my mental health, with my PTSD. I've read lots of really brilliant books, The Divergent Mind, Your Brain's Not Broken, things like that. And then it was like a light bulb went off.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been trying to mold myself into these entrepreneurs and business people who work 15-hour days on the go all the time. And I can't do that. I physically can't do that. I by like, even after this call, I'll probably have to spend an hour on my own, just, deep, chilling out and just absorbing everything, because I have light sensitivity. I didn't realize I wear sunglasses even when it's not sunny. I have, I can't listen to music in the car, things like that. So I thought, right, okay, so how can I change this so that my ADHD helps me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. I realized that I'm not the typical salesperson. I don't like talking to 14, 15 people a week and getting those 3 or 4 sales. So that's when I started looking at webinars again. And think, I can educate, sell at the end. And then I do all of my stuff in groups now. So they get an online portal. So the puppies have got a whole 12 hours of puppy training. And then on a Tuesday evening, every other Tuesday, so 2 a month, they get one is an educational slot from me, and the other one is Q&A. And it's really, really working for me. I can't work all the hours under the sun. I predominantly work the evenings because that's where my clients are around. So I have the day to walk my dogs. And it's been really, really positive. I'm still not right there. The ADHD, even here, and the NHS, if you get referred to the adult ADHD clinic for medication, which is stimulants, which helps people with inattentive become a bit more focused, because our brains go off on a tangent all over the place. It helps to focus you and to stop you procrastinating. There's a year's waiting list.
Wow.
So I'm looking at going private, but it's not cheap, 800 to 1,500 quid. But at the moment, I don't feel I need that. I feel like I've found my coping strategies. But the great thing is, people, if you suspect you have ADHD or you have ADHD, the best entrepreneurs have ADHD. Richard Branson has ADHD.
I was thinking that you're saying about, being a different child or being odd as you were, but I was thinking that actually a lot of entrepreneurs, like you're saying, are a little bit extra, like they're a little bit
eccentric. I've been called eccentric and all sorts. Yeah.
So I was just wondering whether they just sort of go hand in hand. And if you think about my audience, like the pet groomers, there's a lot of pet groomers that go into the business because they want to work with animals. They don't want to deal with people. They don't. They're not. They do a lot of stuff via messenger and text messages. Always like answering the phone. So there's and again, they're entrepreneurs, aren't they? They're business owners. So maybe there are sort of this sort of trend that runs through that. And
it always used to be that the quiet, the introverts, it was thought that they wouldn't be good in business, but actually it's the thinking. I think a lot. ADHD makes you think a lot, go off on different tangents and can't shut your brain off sometimes. But it's in those quiet moments I come up with my best ideas. So.
And would you have had this all the way through your life?
Yes. Yeah. So when I speak to my mum, and now actually I can see my mum has it as well, and we have very similar traits. I struggled right through from when I was probably a toddler. She said, you never really made friends. And actually, I don't think my daughter's around, but we're having my daughter tested because she's the spitting image of me. And I always remember when she was about 2 or 3 years old, the nursery nurse assistant pulling me to one side and saying, we're a bit worried about Maya. I was like, why? Well, she doesn't really do well in groups. She prefers one-on-one, and we don't have the capacity to do that. I was like, that's not my problem. That's my child, but it makes sense now. It makes sense. And she's exactly the same now. She struggles with friendships, although she's a lovely child. She prefers one-on-one. She is absolutely zoned. She's like, at the moment, she's like, Mum, I need to go home. I just need to spend time in my bedroom. You know, we've been around family and friends for a week. She's like me. I'm feeling it as well. I'm like, I can't wait to go home and just sit in my garden, you know. So it runs in families. It's hereditary. It doesn't always present as hyper. Boys tend to be more hyper, but girls can have it as well. But it is starting to become more visible. And people are saying, oh, well, you know, everybody's got ADHD then, because it seems to be, you know, more and more people are getting diagnosed. Well, no, it's because it was misdiagnosed so much that now that people know more about it, it's you know, it's out there, and people have been able to go, oh, actually, do you know what thing? And it's not about a label. It's not about the medication for me. It's about knowing that I'm not crazy. And actually, I have anxiety because I have ADHD, because they go hand in hand. So I can't get rid of this because it's my brain.
Yeah.
So this is a part of this, and I just have to learn to manage it. So
it's like having that missing jigsaw puzzle being put into place, and then going, right, I've got the whole picture now.
Yeah.
You've gone away and you've researched it and gone, right, how can I make my life better with living with it, you know, and use it to my advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, even if you guys don't have ADHD and you have mental health, one of the biggest things that I've learned is it's okay to rest. It's okay to not push. Like, people will say to you, oh, just push yourself through it, Kelly. You know, your anxiety is bad today. Push. Well, actually, no, that makes it worse. And in the long run, I'm gonna crash and burn and be in my bed for 4 days. So when I start to feel it coming on, I will move my clients for a couple of days, and I'll have that time. You know I have the luxury that I can do that, and because my business is doing so well. But if you wake up in the morning and you just feel like you can't see another human being, move your appointment. You're better off doing that, because in the long run, like now, I've probably been the most focused and healthy, I know it sounds weird, for about 3 months. Normally, every month, 2 months, I have a bit of a wobble, but I've actually, for 3 months solidly now, I've got a lot going on in my life at the moment. My dad's really poorly, and normally that would have kicked my anxiety and depression off, but it hasn't. So
yeah,
you know.
So a bit of self-care and taking time out, is that the best way you deal with it? Or have you got any other top tips or tools that you use to help?
Yeah, so I've been on medication for anti-anxiety medication since 2009, and I have changed my medication probably about 3 times. And that's the thing I'd probably say to you: if you've been on medication for more than 5 years and it's not working anymore, go and get it changed. Because I was very reluctant, because back in the day, what they used to do was they'd weed you off the one you're on. You'd have about 4 days of nothing, and then you'd go on to the new drug, and it was just, it's awful. You know, I'd have 2 weeks off work when that happened, but they don't now. What they do is they keep you on your dosage. They bring in the new drug at a low dose, and then it's like, you know, when we weed dogs onto new food, it's the same process. Yeah. So I'm doing this at the moment. I'm in the process of changing medications, and I've not noticed any adverse effects, and actually it's been more positive, to be honest. Yeah. And then self-care. I joined a gym recently. I swim, but also I use it as de-stress, because they've got like fun lounges. So I take my book and I read. I walk my dogs. They're really important to me. And telling my family, this is the biggest thing. I used to try and get through how I was feeling and be present for my family, when in reality I needed to sit. Like, I'll text my husband sometimes if he's at work, and I'll say, I'm really having a really crap day today. I'm probably not going to talk much when you get home. Don't think I don't love you, I do, but please don't talk to me, because I might smack you in the face. So, you know, and he loves that now. He knows to leave me alone, you know, do all of those things. So it's about being a bit more open about how you're feeling as well, so that your loved ones know that you just need a bit of time out, and then you'll be back.
Do you share any of this openness with your clients at all? Like you're saying about putting your clients off and setting them back a few days. Well, how does that go down with them?
I have a very this is who I am.
Mhm.
And if you don't like it and you think I'm weird or odd, there's another dog trainer for you. So I am very much I decided this really, really early on, actually. I'm not working with people that I don't want to work with. And yes, it meant that we didn't have as much money one month because of it. And my husband, he'd be like, hey, you just got to work with everyone. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And so now, yeah, I did a post on my group about it, and I've recently been diagnosed with ADHD, and I just explained it because there are so many. I have a huge audience now. I have 22,000 on my Facebook group, and so there's going to be people in that Facebook group who are undiagnosed, do have mental health problems. And so when I'm having really like a week of anxiety, I will post and say, look, my anxiety is really bad this week. You probably won't hear from me. And then that gives people permission to talk about their own anxiety. I remember when I first started posting, my mum rang me and said, oh, Kelly, you shouldn't be doing that. She's very old school, my mum. She's like, oh, you shouldn't tell people you've got that, you'll lose clients. I said, Mum, if I lose clients because they think I'm mad, I don't want to work with them. So yeah, I'm very open. And when I start talking, because I can talk really quickly, that's part of ADHD. My brother's got it worse than me. You actually have to say to him, will you slow down, because I can't understand what you're saying. But if I start going, because when I'm passionate about something, I'll talk really, really, really quick. And I go, oh God, sorry, that's my ADHD kicking in. Boff, reset, bar. And they think it's funny, and they think it's, and yeah, I think it's important to let people know. And I will say to them when I remove my clients, I'm really sorry, Mrs. Miggins, I need to move you to Thursday because my head's all over the place, And
actually, you're giving your clients a lot better service and better value and better customer service because you're recognizing that. And instead of like just pushing through it, they get like a rubbish session with you because you're feeling rubbish.
Yeah.
They're actually going to, okay, they're delayed, but actually they're having a better session with you. And we did something similar in the pet grooming business that we've got. The diary was chocker. Emma walked in and went, too many clients in today. Let's move a few on. And okay, you might, like, some people might be a bit peeved about having to move their appointment, but actually it's giving them a better service, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have tried to push through, and you're right. When I come off the call, I'm like, no, that wasn't right. That wasn't me. I didn't give them my best. And for me, it is about, I want to give people 110% whenever I speak with them. And I know when I'm really doing well, because I don't know, this is a weird thing. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but when I'm in the zone and I'm talking about stuff that I'm passionate about and things start clicking in my brain, I get goosebumps. I'm like, oh my God, and that's but I think that's my brain saying to me, yay, that's it, go Kel, you've got it, but if I don't get that kind of feeling, because I've pushed myself, and then I feel, do you know what I've done before? Because I'm all about value, giving the best value possible. I've actually emailed the person and said, look, I feel like I didn't give you as much information. I'm going to give you a free session next week. When can I book you in?
Yeah.
Because I don't want them to go away and go, well, that was really shit. I want them to, and then a lot of them come back and go, what are you talking about? It was brilliant. And I'm like, oh, all right, okay. So, yeah, it's, I think we worry too much. And I was always a culprit of this. And I think maybe I'm nearly 50, so age has definitely helped me. But we worry too much about what people think about us.
Definitely.
And in reality, our business is our business. It's nobody else's. I've had clients say to me, you've not called me back. Like, it's been like 3 hours. You've not called me back, and this is really crap service. And I have to say to them, this is my business. This is not yours. And actually, I don't want to work with you, because if you're going to be like that now, I'm not going to work with you. And that's it. Set out your rules. Set out your boundaries. I'm only going to work with this type of person. I'm not going to work with this. I'm only going to work these hours. I would get clients ringing me or texting me and saying, oh, I need to speak to you Friday morning, because they'd say to me, that's the only free time I've got. And I'll say to them, sorry, I don't work Fridays. Well, that's the only time I've got. I said, well, I don't work Fridays. So, here's my diary. it's got all my available times in, you book. And if they really want to work with me, they will make it work. You know, I won't sacrifice my mental health. And that's the key for me, really.
It's spotting this, it's going through those red flags, isn't it? And spotting those red flags and having the confidence to say no to people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And yes, I do understand that people need to say yes because they need the money to pay their bills and that. But what I have learned is that I'll say no to this person, and inside I'm going, oh my God, that's 500 quid I've just given up. But that space is still available for this lovely person who comes along 3 days later. And then I get the money, but I get the right client. So it is very much about being strong, being really strong, and realize, yeah, I do need the money, but I don't want to work with that person. But I'll potentially get another client next week that will fill that gap.
That's it. And again, that's the coaching training as well, isn't it? That comes from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So with your business, are you still working on your own, or have you grown any? Do you have any staff members? Is that something that you're looking at?
I have thought about taking on some trainers, but actually I think what I'd rather do is help people, train people, not to be beagle trainers necessarily, but to be dog trainers. Because the dog industry, although it's not regulated, that doesn't mean that I can't impart some of my wisdom that I've learned. And I've worked with thousands of beagles now, you know. I know, and actually anxiety and overt communication is one of my specialisms now, because I lived with a dog that was like that. Mm-hmm. So, but I do have a PA, a VA, virtual assistant. She is worth her weight in gold. And all that crap stuff, admin-y stuff, like landing pages, Jesus, I don't know what the hell they are, but she does them for me. She does all my email chain links. She sends everything out. And I've also got a bookkeeper, because actually, funny enough, before I was diagnosed with ADHD, I was like, I need someone to do this for me because I will not do it. And then I'll just completely balls up my accounts. Mm-hmm. So I've got a bookkeeper. She's brilliant. She keeps everything for me, and then my accounts go off to the accountant. So although I don't employ them, I have them on a self-employed basis. So, but it's tax deductible, which is great. So, I don't have to pay tax on the money that I pay them. So future-wise, I've got a book coming out in September. How to Train Your Beagle. But that's not really a money-making thing. That's just hello, I'm out there, and then these webinars that I do, Thursday night live webinars, I'm doing free webinars. You get some free training, and then I offer a product at the end. And that's going to be the way forward for me, with the odd sales call in the week as well. Yeah. But I also have started coaching. So I coach dog trainers who want to become dog trainers, want to expand or become dog trainers. But I'm also thinking about specializing in even niching down even more, because I'm all about a niche. So helping pet professionals, obviously not groomers because I know nothing about grooming, pet professionals who have ADHD build a business. Wow. And I really want to niche down, because I've done a lot of stuff that's worked for me that I know will help others. That's probably about another year or so down the line, but that is, again, that's something that's just like, come on, let's do this, Kelly. So I'm sure Alex will go, that's a fantastic idea. Put
it on the whiteboard, put it out your head, put it on your vision board, put it on the whiteboard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. But it's been a wonderful journey. It's been very bumpy, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And actually, mental health wise, this is probably the healthiest I've been in a long time.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic example of acknowledging that you have the PTSD, the ADHD, the anxiety, the depression, acknowledging it, but actually it's not stopping you, is it, from creating the life that you want to lead and having the income that you want to earn.
And if it helps anyone, So if you are thinking about doing dog training, the average dog trainer in the UK is £26,000. I'm coming up to, I don't know how, my maths is rubbish. So double, triple, what's the one after that?
Quadruple?
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm on. And so you can make a wildly business and get the right money. You don't have to settle for the average. You can push that out of the ballpark easily.
Is this why you've moved? Is Guernsey a tax haven? Is that why you've moved?
Well, do you know what COVID taught? I've got a 13-year-old daughter and a husband and 2 beagles, 2 cats and a hamster. And we really liked the quieter life of COVID, especially myself and my daughter. So we had looked at Guernsey a couple of years before, but I had a physical business, I had the daycare business, so it wasn't easy for us to move. So Jack said, well, why don't I look to see if they're recruiting again? And they weren't, but they put his CV on hold and said, look, it probably was about 6 to 7 months and we'll contact you. And that's how it happened. Because I'm all online, I just need this laptop and off I go. But it's been beautiful. We love it. Definitely work-life balance is amazing. You know, I had breakfast on the beach with my daughter the other day.
Awesome. You know, and the biggest, I think we'll both admit this, the biggest key to making our businesses successful is that coaching and mentorship that we've received.
Oh my God, big time. Yeah, absolutely. I am looking for my next coach. So I finish with one and then I have a break. So I have about 3 to 6 month break whilst I'm sort of implementing whatever they've taught me. And then I'm like, right, I'm ready for the next one. So I haven't found it yet. But I'm always one of these people that I believe that everything happens for a reason. So Alex came into my life for a reason. So my other coach came into my life for a reason. So I'm just sitting here waiting for this person to come to me.
And one day you'll listen to a podcast, you'll see a book or something like that, and you'll be like, yes,
that's the one I want to work with. Yeah, absolutely. I think my next mentor is I've actually just signed up for free mentorship. Where I live, they do like startups, very much like what they do in the UK. And I go to a co-working space 2 or 3 times a week. Helps me focus. And they do mentor, and there's a chap there that specializes in online products and pricing. So that he'll probably be my next person. And then I'm going to look at seeing getting a coach who specializes in webinars. That'll be my next one.
Like a speaking coach kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I can talk for England, as you probably have noticed. I don't have any problems with that. But I want to perfect the funnel almost. And the webinar itself, because the webinar itself is just as important to convert. You know, it's not good enough to just go, oh, here's my product. There's certain ways psychologically, not that you're manipulating anybody, but it's that pain point thing. You've got to get the pain points over so that people realize that your product will fix that for them.
See, and again, another great example, you've just sort of like hit those light bulbs in my head. Sometimes you sit there in your business struggling to think of like, what should I do next? How do I do next? The answer is go and ask someone who does it, isn't it? Get that coach, go and speak to that mentor, and then do that work with them, and they'll teach you how to do it. Instead of sitting there thinking, how can I get more business into, how to get more customers and stuff? It's
about talking to people. It really is. And you'll find that the most positive and motivational people are the people that are doing well in business. They are the ones, and they're the ones that want you to succeed as well. They want to, they're mentoring you or them coaching you. Yes, they're probably being paid for it, but at the end of the day, they get more satisfaction out of seeing you succeed.
Definitely. I do from my clients. I sit there looking at how they're changing their business and their wins, and it's just like, it's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's lovely. So yes, I'm about to go on a flight back to Guernsey.
Yeah, that's it. Go and have some space. Thank you for coming on and speaking to the group about PTSD and ADHD, and how actually it can be beneficial for you and your business, and a positive spin on it all. So it's been really good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been wonderful.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Enjoy your flight.
Right. Yeah, well, I'm going to skedaddle because I have got to pack my bags.
Okay.
All right, Bill. See you
Thanks
later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.